Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on the Amulet Bracelet that goes with the pendant that we made a couple of weeks ago. Now I know it's been a while since I posted. I was a little under the weather. I have a pinched nerve in my neck which went right down my arm and into my shoulder. So I couldn't move my right arm. I could not move my beading arm, hand, nothing. And it was so painful that it took like about a week and a half to, and some medication to get it better. And then I start physical therapy soon, but I'm fine for beading right now. So I wanted to get this up because I just adore this bracelet. So let me just give you a quick look at it. So that's the pendant, of course. And here's the bracelet. It is all crystals. I mean, I just used all crystals and I just love, 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 love this bracelet. That's what it looks like on the back. Here's the front. So here you go. All right, let's clear this off and we'll get materials list going and we'll get started. Let's get materials list going. So you need some 10 by 14 millimeter Octagon fancy stones. So I've got some pretty pastels here. I've got this one that's in this bracelet, which I just love this color. And I'll put links where you can purchase these if you need them. I've got a Delica here, an 11-0 Delica. I've got another Delica in a color that coordinates with my stone. I've got a 15-0 seed bead. I've got an 11-0 seed bead, and I love this Czech Coating seed bead, and this is a Miyuki, but it has a matte, the Aztec Gold Czech Coating. So if you've ever had the Aztec Gold, like fire polish beads and such, it's that coating, and I love these, and I'll link down below where you get them, but you can use regular 11-0 seed beads. I've got a 3mm bicone, some kind of box clasp, and I go more into clasps when we get to that point. I've got a stop bead. I'm using 8-pound Fireline black satin. You could use 6. 6 would work really well. We're going through these beads a lot, and there are a lot of tight spaces. So, you want a thinner thread and a size 10 beading needle and a 12. You're going to need that 12 or 11 beading needle to get through some of these spaces because it is tough to get through because it's a very tight weave. And I will also I'll link everything in the description box below the video. Amounts, colors, sizes, you name it, everything you need, places to purchase. I'll put this needle case, which I love, this magnetic needle case I got on Amazon. I'll link this for you as well. I think we have everything. Don't forget to click that down arrow to show more so you get all the information that you need to make this. All right, so let's clear this off and get started. So thread your needle with about 30 inches of thread, put on a stop bead, and need about a 12-inch tail or so, maybe a little bit more. We'll use that tail to put some beads on after. So I picked up and dropped down to my stop bead 36 of my Delicas, and I have alternated my color. I started with a gold and then did a peach, gold, peach, etc. until I have 36 beads on my thread. I've started with the gold, you end with a color. Okay, let's sew these into a circle. So I'm just going to sew up that first gold bead after my stop bead, like that. And this one let's add some beads now. So I'm exiting the gold Delica. So now I'm going to put on my color. So I'm picking up my peach bead, exiting here, skipping this one, sewing through the next one. So if you're alternating like I am, every time you pick up a peach color or the color bead, you're just sewing through the gold bead. So we'll put one on, and that's going to sit on top of the other peach one. Pick up another one, put this one on. So just sewing through the gold bead or picking up a bead, skipping a bead, sewing through the next bead. I've got 2 of my Delicas on. Next up, we want to put a corner in, so we're going to pick up the 11-0. So it's just the regular 11-0 seed bead. Exiting here, skip a bead, sew through the next one. Pick up another 11-0. Exiting here, skip a bead, sew through the next one. So that's my first corner. So this is, this is the top of my bezel. Here's my first corner. Now I'm going to go pick up my peach Delica again, and I'm going to put 3 of those on. So that's 1, 2, and 3. like so. Next corner, so we've got top, corner, side. Picking up the 11-0 again. I'm going to put 2 of those on, so that's 1. And 2. So we have top, corner, side, corner. Now we're going to add some more Delicas again. So pick up a Delica, put one on, and another one. Put that one on. Okay, now we have top, corner, side, corner, bottom. And now we're going to add, well, let's just keep going. We're going to add 11-0s now for the next corner. So that's, get that guy on. That's, there we go. 1, 2. So this is what I have so far. Just put my stop it so you can see it. Like that. Now we're going to come down this way. So let's add 3 Delicas on. So that's to get this side. 1, 2, and 3. Just make sure you're not twisting. So now this is what I have so far. And then I just want to add, all we're going to do right now is just add our last corner on. So pick up an 11-0. Sewing through this one. Move this out of the way. And then another 11-0. And we're going to step up in the corner right here. So exiting, just get that out of the way. This gold Delica, we're going to sew through this one. So you're skipping this one, sewing through this next gold one and the one on the diagonal. Step up like that. And when you're done, you should have this. Just straighten everybody out here. There we go. So you've got your 2 Delicas at the top here. Let me put it in my hand. Corner, 3 on the side. Corner, 2, corner, 3, corner. And this is what it looks like. Okay, let's add some Delicas. So we're going to go with our gold Delicas now. So we're just going to pick up a gold Delica and we're going to sew through the next sticking out Delica. Pick up a gold, sew through this 11-0 in the corner. And now when I get to the corner, I'm going to put an 11-0 in the corner. So I'm putting my, just my round 11-0 in there. And this is what you're going to do all the way around. So you're going to pick up Delica, gold Delica, for one, more till I get to the corner, and then in between those 2 11-0s I'm going to put another 11-0. And see how I'm kind of have my thumbnail in there, giving it a little pull. Not pulling it super tight, I'm just giving it, snug like that. So it's starting to curve, and then you're just going to continue around with this. So Delica, Delica, gold Delica, and then I'm going to put my 11-0 in the corner, like so. I'll just let you kind of get to the end, and then we'll step up together. Coming down to the end, I'm putting on my last corner 11-0 right there. So that gets my corner, and then I'm going to pick up my gold Delica, and you're going to step up right here. So here I'm exiting that 11-0. I'm going to sew through this peach 11-0. Let me get my needle on there. And then the gold one on the diagonal. So I picked up a gold Delica, sewing through the peach, and then the gold one on the diagonal. And now that's gonna step us up, and we can put some more beads on. Next up, we're gonna add some 15-0s. So I'm exiting, you know, just so you don't get lost, you know, what side you're on and such. So this side, there's one side that has all the gold Delicas as the last Delica, and the other side has this is gonna be our front here. The other side has the peach ones. We're still here. We're gonna start some 15-0s. So pick up a 15-0, and all you're gonna do is add a 15-0 in between each sticking out bead. So through that Delica, through that 11-0, through the next Delica. So you're just adding a 15-0 all the way around. All right, so I'll let you get that done and meet me at the end, and we'll step up together. Coming down to the end, I'm putting on my last couple of 15-0s. So 15-0, and then I'm going to step up with my next 15-0. So exiting the gold Delica, I'm going to sew through this gold Delica, and then the 15-0 on the diagonal. It's going to step me up. Giving it a little pull, and this is what it looks like so far. Okay, this is what it looks like so far. So we're on this side, and we just added those 15-0s. So I'm just going to I'm just going to turn it over and take my stop bead off my tail thread and thread my needle, so we can work on this side a little bit. So when you do that, you'll be exiting a gold Delica right there. You just want to sew through this peach one or your color on the diagonal so that you get your thread on this side, and we can start adding some beads. So I am going to immediately decrease, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm exiting this peach, the color Delica. I am, just for reference, see these three 11-0 seed beads right here? I'm right under them, so I'm going to sew, I'm exiting here, I'm going to sew directly through the next bead without any beads on my needle. So just like that, so that next Delica, and I'm going to give it a little pull inward, and that's just going to decrease right here, so there'll be no bead here, but it's right in this area under these 11-0s that we're decreasing. And then we're going to pick up 15-0s. Let me grab a few of those. And we're going to add a 15-0 in between each sticking out Delica. So that's 1, 2. You can see how it's already making a corner. 3 and 4. So I have 4 of them on, and now I'm at that corner again. See the 3 11-0s there? So I want to decrease right here. So you're decreasing right in between these two beads right here. So just sewing through the next bead without any beads on your needle, and that's going to decrease that corner, and then you're just going to add 15-0s until you get to the next corner. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm now at the next corner. There are the 3 11-0s. There's that gold Delica. I'm exiting the peach or the color. I'm going to just sew through the next color Delica. And that's how I'm going to do my corner. See how it's sort of getting squarish? So you're going to do that all the way around, and then meet me at the end, and we'll step up. I'm coming around to my last corner, so I'm just adding my 15-0s. One more 15-0 to add right here, and then I'm going to be at the corner, you know, that first decrease I already made. So here you are right there, exiting this color. All you're going to do is skip over to the next color Delica, and then the 15-0 on the diagonal, and that's going to step you up. See that? And then you have sort of this sort of rectangular look, so you can kind of pop it into place, make it into a rectangle. And just for reference, the top or bottom of your bezel are going to have these 2 peach Delicas or color Delicas in the back, and the sides will have 3. So you'll always be able, so you can kind of do that. It sort of goes into that sort of shape. All right, get that done, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, this is where we are so far. So I'm going to flip it over again like this, and I'm going to put my stone in. So we're going to be working on the side that has all the gold beads. All right, so I'm going to take my stone, and this is going to go face down because this is going to be the back for me. You can actually use either side, back or front. I'm just going to put my stone in, and it's going to seem like it's huge. And make sure that you have your, you know, the top of your stone where the 2 Delicas are, and then the side has those 3. And now we're just going to work around the back a little bit. We'll get back to the front soon. So I'm just going to start adding some 15-0s. So exiting a 15-0, picking up a 15-0, I'm going to sew through the next 15-0. And now I'm at the corner, so I'm going to decrease right here. So here, I'm exiting here, I'm just going to sew directly through that next 15-0 without any beads on my needle. And see, I'm just going to pull that in a little bit. And then I'm going to continue adding 15-0s till I get to my next corner. So 15-0. It seems really loose, like, oh, this is too big. It isn't. It will fit. Just pull inward like this. Keep going till you get to that corner. So I'm at the corner again, exiting this 15-0. I'm just going to sew through that following 15-0, just pulling that corner in like that. And then I'm going to just do that all the way around. So you're just going to put 15-0s till you get to the next corner, then you're going to decrease and to the next one, and then we'll step up together. Going down to my last couple of 15-0s. So I've just come around the corner and decreased over there. That's one, and now I'm going to step up. So picking up a 15-0, exiting this 15-0, sewing through this 15-0, and the one on the diagonal to step up. I'm giving a nice pull. And you want, you know, you can kind of like pop it into shape like that. It's still going to seem loose, but we're going to keep going. We're going to put one more round on the back. Okay, so let's put this round on the back. So I'm exiting this 15-0 right here. I'm going to pick up 2 15-0s. I'm going to skip these guys, and I'm going to sew through that next sticking out 15-0. Like that. And then I'm going to add more 15-0s until I get to the next corner. You're going to pull in a little bit as you go. So now I'm at the corner again. I'm going to pick up 2 15-0s. And I'm exiting here. I'm going to skip over to the next sticking out 15-0. So I'm putting 2 15-0s in the corner. And you're just going to do that all the way around, and then we'll step up. Okay, coming down to my last few beads. So picking up a 15-0. Sewing through that next sticking out 15-0. Now I'm in my corner, picking up 2. And I'm going to sew through this guy. Like that. And then I'm going to pick up a 15-0. It's getting a little like a lot of beads here in the corners right now. Put one on, and then you're going to pick the last one up. You're going to sew through this one, like so. And then you want to go through the 2 in the corner. And that's just going to end off these beads right here. So you're stepping up, but just through those 2. Now, at any time, if your bezel seems, and we're going to get to the front in a second, if it seems loose on the back, I mean, because they're all different thicknesses, and you know, they're just not, each brand is a little different. You can skip some beads on the back. You can use some Charlottes on the back. You can put just one in the corner. You know, whatever it takes in order to get that good fit. So you see it's still slightly loose, but I'm going to put some beads on the front, and that's going to tighten me up a little bit. But I noticed that each stone, each brand is a little different as far as the, you know, how the bezel fits, but they all work. You just got to play with it a little bit. I flipped over to this side, and I'm going to put another round of 15-0s on this side. So this is what the back looks like. Here's the front. I'm going to pick up my 15-0s. I'm going to sew through each sticking out 15-0. And as I keep going around, it's getting tighter and tighter, and it will work fine. I've tried so many different stones. So putting on some 15-0s till I get to the corner. And then I'm going to pick up 2 15-0s. Exiting here, I'm just going to sew, put 2 15-0s in that corner, sew through the next 15-0 like that. I'm going to do that all the way around. Pick up 2 15-0s, put them in the corner, like that. That's looking really nice. I'm just going to let you go off and finish that on your own, and then we'll step up. Coming down to my last corner, so I'm going to pick up my 2 15-0s. Exiting here, I'm just going to sew through this 15-0 and then the one on the diagonal. That's going to step me up, and the bezel is complete. All right, so you're just going to sew your threads in. So I just go on the diagonal through several beads just to sew that in, and there you go. So get that done, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so here we are. We're done with the bezel. Now we're going to embellish the corners. So you want to make sure that you, if you're adding a thread, that you are exiting one of these corner 11-0s, so the round beads. See, there are the two beads for the corner. If you have a long enough thread, just sew through your Delicas on the diagonal until you're exiting this bead right here. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a 15-0, and an 11-0. Exiting here, I'm just going to sew through the next bead and make sure that it makes it into a nice corner like that. And then all you're going to do is sew on the diagonal till you get to the next corner. So you see how I'm just working my way through the beads until I get to that corner. And just going back and forth on the diagonal so that no thread will show. So here, and then I want to exit right here. Like that. Picking up a 15-0, 11-0, 15-0. Sitting here, just going to sew through this guy. Gonna make sure it makes a point. So see, that's how we're going to get our corners. You can do that all the way around. So sew through your Delicas till you come out the 11-0, put your 15-0, 11-0, 15-0, and so on. And then sew these. You're just going to sew this thread in after you finish all the corners. So I've got some units here. We're going to sew 2 of them together. I'm doing different colors because I'm thinking maybe it'll be easier to see exactly where all the beads go. I have some 3mm Bicones and some of the 11-0s in that, with that pretty Czech coating. So let me pull in. We'll take 2 of our pieces. So I threaded my needle with about, 1.5 feet, 2 feet of thread. Put on a stop bead, leave enough of a tail to sew in. I'm just going to sew right through one of the corner beads. So we want to make sure these are nice and snug and in, place nicely. So right there. Right, next up, I'm going to pick up one of my 3mm Bicones and an 11-0. So I'm exiting this 11-0. I'm going to work with these 3 green beads in the bottom right here. I'm going to sew through this first green Delica right there. You can change your needle size here. This is what I have. Then I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a 3mm Bicone, and an 11-0. I'm exiting this green one. I'm going to skip this one and sew through this one. So you're working across those beads there, like that. And then I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and a Bicone. And I'm going to sew through the top there. Okay, so setting up to make that connection. Let's connect 2 of our units together. Just pull out just a touch. Okay, so I'm exiting that top gold bead. Just going to pick up a gold 11-0 and sew down through the bead at the top of the next unit. And then I'm going to sew through the Bicone. And don't worry about it, it's going to be kind of wonky and loose until we get it going. So you're just exiting, at this point, you're exiting the bicone. Exiting the bicone, I'm going to pick up an 11-0. I'm going to try to do this on the mat. And I'm going to go to the other unit. I'm going to be working across these 3 beads. So I'm going to sew through this one, like that. I'll show you when I get it through. And then I just want to, that's what it looks like. And then I'm going to pick up an 11-0. And I'm going to sew through the next bicone, like that. And you see how I'm getting that little 4 bead unit in there? And then I'm going to pick up an 11-0. I'm going to skip this green one, and I'm going to sew through this one. There we go. Like that. So that's the last little green or color Delica. Like that. And then we're just going to continue on with an 11-0 through the bicone, like that. And then you want to just sew through this 11-0 right here, like that. Oops. That's what I have. I'm going to pick up an 11-0. I'm going to go through this 11-0. And now you have your connection on. And then we're going to reinforce. Let's reinforce this. Now I've already done it, but I'm going to just talk you through it. So remember, we put this bead on and we came through this 11-0 right here. You're going to sew up through this bicone, and then you want to sew through your thread path. So I'm going to sew through this 11-0 right here, like that. And then don't forget to grab that Delica in there. So remember, we went through the Delica, and you'll be able to do this a little easier because I've already done it. So I think my reinforcing is really nice. And then through this one, and then through the bicone. I just think it straightens out the beads really nicely when you do it this way. And then through this 11-0, the Delica 11-0, and then you're just going to work your way all the way around, and you can reinforce this side as well. Sometimes just one side, puts everybody in place beautifully, or you might have to go around and then just do the same thing on this side, and then you're just going to sew in your threads, and you're going to make all your units and attach them, and then we'll work on the clasp. Okay, we're going to add the clasp. So just a note about clasps. I'm adding this box clasp because this is what I have, but there are so many different clasps you can add. Here's another one. Well, I found this one after I put it on, so here's another one. What I'd love to do is make a Rivoli clasp, or the shape of this stone, so a rectangle or octagon shaped 10 by 14 clasp, where they have these clasps that you glue in the crystal, and then the crystal becomes part of the clasp, becomes part of the design. I can only find Rivolis right now, and I'm ordering some, so I'll show you those once they come in, and we'll see how those work. But wouldn't it be great if they made it in all the shapes so that we can just use that? I think this would so benefit by having the clasp a crystal, although it looks pretty with the box clasp too. All right, just a note, if you want to look for them, you can. I looked on Etsy and I found so many nice ones on Etsy. Potomac Beads has some that are for the Rivolis, the 14mm Rivoli. So check around and see, look at other clasps and see what you can come up with. I think I'm going to do a clasp video where I'm going to show some clasps, but I have to order them all, so it'll be a little bit. All right, so let's get this clasp needle with, a 1.5 of thread or so, put on a stop bead, leave enough of a tail to sew in. So we're going to work through with these 4 gold Delicas, so they're the last Delicas before the 15-0s. I'm going to sew, I've sewn through this, the first one right here. So that's where I'm coming at. I'm going to pick up an 11-0. I'm going to sew through that hole in the clasp, like that. Okay, I'm going to turn it this way. So it looks like. I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s. You can actually put a crystal here instead, or a bigger bead. It's fine. Whatever you like, you can put there, as long as it fits well and looks nice with the clasp. So 3 11-0s coming through that third hole in this clasp. So it has 3 holes. I'm just using the last 2. I'm going to straighten those out. pull that through like so. Here, let me show you. And then I'm going to take an 11-0 and I'm going to sew through that last gold one. So where is it here? 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy. Right there. And that is essentially how we're going to add our clasp on. So what you're going to do at this point is you're going to reinforce the heck out of this because it's holding your clasp on. So you want to come back around, go through all the beads again. So just by sewing through all the beads, and then once you come through again, you are going to move your thread all throughout the bezel here on this side and this side. And when you do, I'm not going to sew it in, but I'll just show you. So let's say you've reinforced and you're coming, you've come down through the Delica, go through this 15-0, this 11-0. Just want to show you how to make this super tight. And then I'm going to go through this 11-0. I just want to get to the Delicas on this side right here. So here I'm going through a Delica. Then I'm going to go through another Delica. And you could go through a couple more, but what you're going to do is when you're done going through the Delicas, you're going to lock this in place by I'm going to show you how to do that. So you're coming out of here, you're going to sew up through the next bead that's right next to the one that you're coming out of, and then back down that original one again. Do you see how that's going to sew around that bead? And then you're going to go down to sew through this one and this one, do it again. So it's nice and snug because you don't want this to move when when it's done. So by doing that in a couple of places, your clasp is going to be on really tight. And when see this one, I can't pull that one. It's just in place and it's not going to move. So you just want to make sure that you do that nice and snug so that your clasp stays on. All right, so get your clasp on. You're doing the same thing for either end, for both ends, and then come back and we'll finish up. Okay, we're back and we're done. And I love it. I love it. I think it's so pretty. And I'm thinking, gosh, do we need a ring? So the 10 by 14 millimeter, wouldn't that make a gorgeous ring? I mean, you don't have to wear them all at the same time, but I think this deserves a ring, and I think you could just do it with this. So here with the peyote loop for the, for the bail. Why not just, instead of making it a bail, just bring it all the way around, and then you've got a gorgeous ring as well. So lots of fun to play with this. I really had a blast making it. I hope you make this because I think you're going to absolutely love it because of all the design in it and the big, beautiful stones. All right, so I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.